From the center of New York City and Studio A at SNY Studios, I'm Tommy D, and this is another edition of TKB TV. A lot going on in the world of the Knicks and free agency, and here to help me with it, to break it all down, is Keith from Knicks Journal. How you doing, Keith?
Good, Tommy. Thanks for having me.
I mean, you're in the new studio. You're the first one here. Before Brian and Moke.
Feeling good to christen it, man.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk a little bit about what your thoughts are. Got a chance to read a lot of stuff on Knicks Journal, specifically the new people coming in. You're talking about Jason Kidd, Camby, for example. Let's start there. What are your feelings on bringing in the two wily veterans to help the rotation?
Well, I think Kidd obviously feels the need, not only as a secondary point guard next to Jeremy Lin, but as a mentor for him too going forward. Kidd has a lot of championship Hall of Fame bound type experience. He's going to be passing that on to Lin. As far as Camby, I think he's another great addition. Whether or not he filled their biggest need, I'm not sure. He'll be a great backup to Tyson Chandler on the defensive end. Now I would kind of look to them to kind of add a shooting guard moving forward.
Now for me, Steve Nash was a guy that the Knicks were obviously after. There was a lot of rumors that they may bring in or include Iman Shumpert into the trade. Phoenix was interested, from what I heard. But they ultimately didn't go with Nash. Nash, I think the Lakers put together a better package for Nash than the Knicks could have. They end up with Kidd not having to give up Shumpert, and Pablo Prigioni from Argentina, the 35-year-old pass-first point guard. Do you think Grunwald did a good job there in keeping Shumpert out of the deal, not getting Nash, but getting those two pieces to help Lin?
I think so. I think if you were going to go and acquire Nash, you would have had to give up some other assets. So being able to sign Kidd outright and, like I said, bring in an experienced seasoned guy to kind of mentor Lin moving forward. In addition to him, you've got Prigioni, who, at a third-string point guard, he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him, but at the same time, he can kind of ease in, from Europe and see what he's got, on the year.
And he can take a lot of the pressure off of Kidd, which I wrote yesterday. Like, if Kidd wants to take a couple games off or, maybe have a stint on the DL, it takes a lot of pressure off his legs where he can kind of play at his best in the games that he's going to play, maybe 20, 25 minutes, maybe more. Can you see Kidd and Lin maybe playing together in the backcourt?
Definitely. I've written on knicksjournal.com a lot this week about how, without a surefire shooting guard besides J.R. Smith, the Knicks are going to have to look to Prigioni and even Kidd to play with Lin. I think Kidd has a better understanding of how to get his teammates involved, so even if Kidd has to take, the floor general duties over from Lin and kind of give Lin the green light to shoot, I think they'll work well together.
You make a great point about Camby and what they gave up. And, included in that, which we reported from on the Knicks blog, was a good chunk of the $3 million that they won't be able to use for first-round pick next year. They did give up a lot for Camby, and you mentioned, and I agree with you that shot makers in the shooting guard position really could have been and should probably be addressed maybe instead of Camby. Be that as it may, Camby's here. Who should they look forward to in terms of trying to fill that shooting guard, that role?
Well, they did add James White. Played a few years in Italy. He's got some potential, a good defensive guy, but, he's very athletic. He can get to the hoop and kind of,
more of a slasher, a 2-3.
Right, exactly. He's a 2-3 guy. He can dunk the ball a lot, and I think he'll fill it up offensively when he's given the ball, whether or not, they kind of need him to. J.R. Smith's a hot and cold guy, so when Smith's got it, kind of just give him the green light to go. If he's kind of cold, let White take a try. You
mentioned Smith. They brought back Steve Novak, a couple of their guys that they had last year. Still waiting on the word, but it's a foregone conclusion that Jeremy Lin will be back, everybody believes. What are your thoughts on the Novak and Smith signing specifically?
I think those are great. As far as Smith and Novak kind of contributing off the bench, they lit up the Garden with their shot making, their dunks. They were called Mob Deep by the fans, so they've definitely got the Garden, crowd behind them. Smith did a great job off the bench. We keep talking about him being potentially the starting shooting guard. When he's put into that role as a starting two guard, I don't know if he's going to have the same impact, but Novak stands to kind of pace the bench as well, so we'll see.
Knicks did a great job of going overseas and in-house and keeping that bench and adding to it that Mob Deep group that you mentioned. Keith, as always, you do a great job at Knicks Journal. Look forward to reading more from you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
And remember, to get all your information on the Knicks and the Lindell NBA, check out the knicksblog.com, part of the SNY.TV blog network. I'm Tommy D. We'll see you next time.